MBA is a pressure cooker. They're all highly competitive people. You just unconsciously, you cannot help by comparing yourself.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the best MBA podcast in the world, Get to B School. This is your host, Drex, and this is episode 41. Today, we're chatting with Sarah from Shanghai. She was in the evening program at Kellogg, but she switched into the full-time program. So I'm very grateful that she would come on and tell her experience because, to be honest, the option to switch from evening to full-time was a huge selling point to Kellogg for me. Her story is one of resilience. She was just very open and vulnerable in her story of getting knocked down and then getting back up with a lot of help from Kellogg. And she's very open and grateful for that. The other thing that she does a great job discussing is recruiting, what it looks like, her inputs, her advice for someone in recruiting or thinking about it. Loved it. Was a lot of fun. And I'm, again, grateful that she would take the time. The usual requests from me, please, if you haven't already, consider subscribing, giving a 5-star review. Please send this to a friend if you think it would help. And more importantly, please reach out if we can do anything to help you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a great week. And I hope you enjoy this great chat with Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a minute. We didn't see each other all summer because you and I were in operations together. Is that the class we had?
We were in accounting together.
It was accounting. Oh, I blocked that out entirely. That's why I didn't remember. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much again for coming on the show. Can you give a little bit of an introduction to the listeners?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm originally from Shanghai, China. I came here for my undergrad. I went to Ohio State. Go Bucks. After that, I worked in corporate retail and corporate manufacturing for about 5 years. Then I decided I want some city life because I'm from Shanghai. I am a city girl. So I started thinking about do I want to get my MBA? And then also I was heavily involved in supply chain operations. I know nothing about finance. I know nothing about strategy. So I figured that's a good opportunity to get to the big city, learn from the top school. So that's why I decided to apply for MBA. And I only applied to 2 schools, Kellogg and Booth. And I got accepted into both. I picked Kellogg. I started as a part-time student working full-time. Then interestingly, life happened. I decided to switch to full-time.
There's a lot that we are going to cover there. Great introduction. First things first, why did you only choose Chicago schools? Was it Chicago priority? Is that what happened?
Yes. Ohio is in the Midwest. People always make fun of Ohio. I have to defend Ohio a lot. But Ohio, one thing about Ohio, it's in the Midwest, and Midwestern people are super, super nice. I didn't want to go to the coast. I still want to be drivable to Ohio because I still have a big supporting network in Ohio. So I only considered Chicago, and Chicago has amazing Chinatown. That's a huge bonus.
Great. I haven't been to Chinatown. Okay, I'll get there. I kind of want to just dive right into it because your pivot from part-time to full-time is something I've wondered about. So let's just cannonball in. First, what prompted the decision to go to full-time?
Yes, so I was working full-time with my old employer, and then there's something related to visa and hiring. So suddenly I have to rethink about my plan. It's a blessing in disguise, I would say. Instead of trying to patch things together, I just decided to go all in and commit to my MBA and make the most out of it. And also I was weekend student, so I was commuting every week. That commute can get long and exhausting. So I decided to move to Chicago and fully commit, make more network, make the most out of it.
Awesome. And I love the tone that you have when you talk about that. It sounds positive. You're saying the right words. The emotion seems accurate. Maybe you're just putting on a good show, but I hope you really are happy with your choice. Brass tacks questions. How long were you doing the part-time program before you switched?
Yeah, so I was in part-time for 2 quarters. So I started in summer and fall. I decided to transition to winter. So I did winter, spring, full-time. So 2 quarters part-time, 2 quarters full-time. Now I had a summer internship. Now I'm in my 3rd quarter full-time, and I graduate next quarter.
Okay, wait. So, let me catch up. So essentially, you'll be at Kellogg for 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you just having to shove a little bit more into the remaining full-time quarters that you typically wouldn't with a regular full-time program? I guess, are you having to make up ground?
So I was in the accelerated program for part-time. So the credit requirement is like lower, but then full-time, you have to take 20.5 credit. And then also the tuition billing thing is they bill you per semester. It's a fixed fee. So it makes the most sense for me to graduate next quarter. And then also with my class load, Kellogg, like the dean's office, like they are super supportive. They kind of customize this plan for me so I can finish in a reasonable like amount of time and also without like, paying extra.
That's amazing. So are you going to then technically graduate with fewer than 20.5 credits?
No, I will graduate with
You will have the 20.5.
Yeah, 20.5. Yes.
Okay. And then you said that the office was very supportive. Did you get the sense that you had to have a really good reason to make the switch? How easy would it be for someone that just wanted to switch because they wanted to be full time?
That's also one of the reasons I picked Kellogg, because Kellogg actually allows you to switch from part-time to full-time. So I first talked to my career coach. I strongly recommend connecting with your career coach at Kellogg, especially the part-time ones. They are super, super nice. And then all the conversation, all the solutions are kind of customized for you. Like you are their unique case. There's not one size fits all. It was difficult. It's honestly a little bit awkward when your classmates, they're all working full time. They all are on the good trajectory to the next promotion while you have this visa situation and you're suddenly gonna be out of job, out of status legally in the States. So it took me a lot to kind of open up to discuss my situation with my career coach. But my career coach like encouraged me to talk to the dean and explain my situation. And then eventually we made the switch. There's the dean, like I couldn't recommend her anymore. Megan Kruger, she still follows up with me. She still asks me what she can do to support me along the way with full-time recruiting, because one thing about full-time program is everybody is unemployed unless you're a sponsored student. So you have to be on this recruiting timeline pretty much since fall, like even before fall, like if you're recruiting for IB for consulting, you have to pretty much get started before even school starts. I was pretty late to the game because I made a switch in winter, but my career coach made sure like to connect me with full-time coaches, with the resources, with the timeline to make sure I still can have a successful recruiting journey. Yeah, a lot.
And how's the recruiting going? Have you felt supported and not too far behind?
Yes, that's one thing I want to talk about is to really know what you want. I only applied for one internship at the end of October, which is Amazon. And it's a vendor manager internship that's very similar to my past jobs because I was a buyer before, which is negotiating, managing suppliers. I only applied for that one. I did the interview, they want me, so it all worked out. But I would say with full-time recruiting, because there are so many smart people in the programs, so many people desperate for a job, for an opportunity, you have to be really clear what you want and dedicate to it. You cannot be recruiting like 3 different functions at the same time. You will get burnt out really quick. And companies, they know, recruiters, they're very experienced. They can tell if you really want to be in this field or not. So it all worked out. I got my offer. I applied in October. That's when the work situation happened. I only applied for that one and I heard back in January. So winter time, I didn't really have any recruiting stress. I was mainly focused on getting settled in Chicago because I had to move from Ohio. Chicago winter is brutal. Getting settled in Chicago, make more connections with full-time friends because I didn't know anybody. And then also trying to catch up with the school workload because full-time you have to take more classes.
Yeah. Okay. I have just a few questions.
Okay.
Did you get the sense that it was much easier to make the change from part-time to full-time because of the emergency? And if someone didn't have an emergency, would they still be able to? Maybe you don't know, so that might be an unfair question.
I think it's case by case. I have known people who followed the traditional route. You have to know what you really want. You cannot be today I want to be in part-time and tomorrow I want to be in full-time. You have to be really sure what you want. And normally only transition time, I think, happens in the winter quarter, and then you will go through a official interview as well.
Okay. It's really helpful because you hear about this and it's honestly a great pitch for Kellogg that they have this opportunity, but it's very helpful to hear firsthand your experience. Okay, fun questions now. I feel like I know the answer because I know quite a few full-time Kellogg people, but how was the switch? How was it going from group to group? Do you have a ton of friends? Are you partying every night? Tell me about how it's going.
No, because I switched in winter, and winter everybody just kind of like stay in. And then also finding housing is not easy. Like, let's get realistic. The housing in Evanston, they're all year-long leases, so it's pretty much impossible for you to find a place to live in the middle of the school year in winter. Nobody wants to move in winter. So I stayed in Chicago downtown. I'm still hanging out mainly with my part-time friends. And then also one thing I would say, because full-time, they really emphasize cohort. They take those core classes together. So the friendship, they're already formed. It's kind of hard for you to break into later. But again, Kellogg supported me. I was like, can you put me in a like full-time cohort so I can make some friends? And then they did. So I made friends that way. And then each cohort, they have like small group dinner. They have it's not called cohort, it's called section. Each section, they have like section outings. We went to the baseball game together, and like I think bi-weekly happy hour. So that's also a good way to make friends.
Okay. I said fun question. Sounds like it's actually kind of been a very stressful time. So fun wasn't the right word there. Oh, I hope that the Evanston housing, I didn't even think about how much of a curveball that would be trying to move to a small town like Evanston in the winter. Yeah, that's not going to happen easily. Okay. Do you think you'll move up to Evanston then this summer? Or probably not, because you'll just go back to Seattle.
Yes. So I still live in downtown. I honestly love the downtown life. It's very convenient. It's 10 minutes drive to Chinatown. Chinatown is an important part of my life. And then honestly, I enjoy stay connected with my part-time friends, especially now I can see them more often. And then the Kellogg table, like one big thing about Kellogg part-time program that actually made me choose Kellogg versus Booth is the Kellogg table culture. Like, you sit in a table, like you have dinner together, you get to network, and then the Kellogg part-time students group is very diverse, like students from all kinds of backgrounds. It's more diverse than the full-time. That's my observation. I don't know if that's true, but that's my observation.
Ah, okay. And then again, it just kind of goes back to, it's so cool that you get to say that firsthand. You get to have your comparison firsthand. You've seen both. Okay, let's talk about just practical advice that you have. What are you telling people considering an MBA broadly?
Yes, MBA is not a small decision. It's your money, it's your time, and then it's also with your life. Are you gonna get married? Are you gonna have kids? Are you gonna raise kids? Are you gonna move cities? So I would say you need to really think about what you want out of this MBA. If you just want an MBA title, I don't think you're gonna make a lot out of it. You can definitely graduate, right? But like in regards of your understanding of yourself and of the world is like definitely different. I would say like be really clear of what you want to do and then stay true to yourself. I have seen people, they try to ask me if they can like write something that's not really their life story in their essay because they think that may give them a better chance of getting into MBA school. I would say don't do that. Stay true to yourself, what you really want to do, what you're really passionate about. And then also kind of figure out like what each school likes. School has a preference, like obviously like different schools have different reputation. Kellogg has a reputation for being like marketing heavy and then Booth is like very analytical, very quantitative. I would say like know that and then actually visit, like do campus visit, do class visit. I visited Booth's class. Sorry, I'm mentioning Booth a lot. To me, it's not a good fit for me because it's really, really quantitative. I don't think that's what I want to do because my focus is more towards general management. I care more about like leadership. I care more about like negotiation skills, all that stuff. And then Harvard is like, also even some professor will tell you like how the professor teaches at different school is different. Harvard is very business case heavy. It's a case every class and then professor almost have to teach the same way. So I would say find what you really care about, like in your experience, find a good fit, and then tell your true story. That's my advice. And then also I would say get started early. Don't wait until the last minute because you have to get your scores in, get your recommendation letters in. It's a lot. If you scramble, like you may not have a thorough like thinking of yourself, your goal, and then the package may just seem like it's patched together. And then those experienced admission officers, they can tell. They can definitely tell.
Yes. Just a couple of things. The advice is so appreciated, especially because, again, you visited both of the schools. I can already tell that you say it how it is. So with the last few minutes, what's something that caught you off guard in a less than positive way when you started school? What's something that you might not have expected?
I think it's the imposter syndrome. And then also, I think it's the stress. MBA is a pressure cooker. We're all squeezed in that like environment in the hub. They're all highly competitive people. People don't talk about it, but you can feel like the stress is definitely in the air. You just unconsciously, you cannot help by comparing yourself to other people. For me, I was the best buyer on my team at my old company. It's not even self-bragging. Like it's true with data. I was the best buyer, and my old company was the industry leader. So I feel like I am pretty good. I know a lot about negotiation, about supply chain. But then when you get to class, when you talk to people, you're like, wow, you're like, I'm nobody compared to them. And then this feeling will eat you alive because you're a highly competitive person. And then especially with full-time, everybody's unemployed and you have to kind of fight through like internships. And then the full-time, one thing that's really interesting to me is you can do on-campus recruiting, but on-campus recruiting is basically you drop your resume and then they will let you know if you're invited for interview. The one thing that threw me off is there's a alternate list. It's basically waitlist for interview. Let's say a company, they only plan to interview 5 people and then they will reject some people. Let's say I'm just making up number, like there are 50 people apply. They only plan to interview 5. They will reject 25. They said 25, you just don't get any interview. You're not a good fit. And then 5 people get an interview. And then the other 20 people will be put on the wait list for interview. So basically, if those 5 chosen people, they don't want to interview, they can drop and then you move up to the wait list. That's how competitive it is. And then you keep thinking like, am I good? Like, is my experience enough? You started doubting yourself. That's also what I say, like, be sure, stay true to yourself, what you really want to do. If you apply for 3 different functions, you're going to quickly get burnt out because each function, you're probably like not on the top list. You're every company, you're on the wait list. You're like, what am I doing? Why am I here? So I would say that's one thing that you have to deal with. You have to really think about how you cope with stress. And then Kellogg has a lot of supportive resources for full-time people. Like they have group counseling, they have one-on-one, like you can talk to a psychiatrist like for 15 minutes each quarter. They offer those opportunities if you need help. And then I think seeking help is really important. Like people don't talk about it, but I can tell you it's true. Based on my experience, based on what I heard from other people, everybody's so stressed.
Man, again, thank you. A few things that I liked. Obviously, that piece about stress, if you speak into it, it takes away that unknown power that makes us not want to address it. But also, I loved what you mentioned now a couple of times, which is know what you're going for, because then you can give it more of yourself. So not choosing 3 different paths, like giving yourself wholly to one. I don't know if I have the guts to recommend what you did and only apply for 1 internship. In fact, I know I do not. I definitely need more baskets for my eggs, but I respect it. Let's chat for a minute about your Amazon experience. Tell me how the summer went.
Yeah, so the summer was pretty good. I was on the video game team. And then every time when I tell people, people are like, how did you get that? I was like, I don't know. I don't even play video game. Because my team, we have Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, like Electronic Arts, like all those like game codes. And then Meta, like the VR game, like that's all my team. And then my team, physically in the office, we have a 85-inch TV and Nintendo Switch just to play Mario Mario Karts, and I don't even play Mario Kart. So that's the setup. I was in the video game team, so that's a very fun team. Summer, I had to like lead a project. It's kind of like new market exploration, like to figure out like a go-to-market strategy for mobile game currency. And I have to figure out what's the market size, like what Amazon is gonna do. Are there any risks, like legal-wise, business development-wise? Like, do big publishers want to work with Amazon? Because Amazon has this reputation. Amazon wants to charge a lot. Amazon is demanding. And then also, what's our marketing plan? Like, how do we get people to go to Amazon versus go to GameStop, go to like those publishers' website to do that? I think for my team to trust me and intern to give me such a big project means a lot. Like everyone like takes ownership. They want to stretch you. That's what I learned like for my summer. I feel so stretched. It's a very positive experience. And I would say like if you want to be stretched, if you want to learn a lot, I would definitely recommend Amazon. You just have to kind of adjust. Like it's kind of like dealing with the stress in school. You just have to know you are your own cheerleader and always cheer yourself up, and like you will be fine.
Great. You've shared so much today. You've shared the very practical brass tacks of what people would need to switch from a part-time to a full-time, how they might do that. You've shared some great insight into, starting your applications early, being really intentional about what you're actually going to do, why to get an MBA. And then this was fun to just hear that you go play video games all day long, that you're so passionate about Mario, Sarah. This was great.
I played one time and I was like the 11th out of 12.
I'm the 13th out of 12th when we play Mario. So you and I get along. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm excited to chat more once we run into each other on campus.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. I don't think my manager realized I don't play video game, because on the first day he introduced me to the team saying Sarah's passionate about video game. I was like, are you sure that's me?
What? I didn't know I was passionate about video games.
No, I was not.